Hello. Good evening. Hello, everybody. Cheers. Happy Sunday. We are live. I say we. I'm live. Mr. Plume's just had to pop out. Where are we? Right. We're all set up. Who's here? Roll call, please. Anybody who's watching, shout out in the comments. As you can see, it's just me for now. Mr. Plume's been indisposed. He was here a second ago. He's just had to pop out. Bit of a different podcast tonight. Bit of a different chat. Oh, he's being weighed in by his wife already. Uh-oh. Oh, hey, look at that. That's fancy. That's a different comment box. What have I done? Everybody wish him luck, or message him if you've got his private number, his phone calls. Just hassle him. I'll take that down before he comes back. All right, nobody say anything. Oh. Here he is.
I'm back.
Here he is. He's back. He's in.
Are we live?
We are live. We are
right,
live.
Hang on. I need to. Did you cover?
I covered for you, yeah.
What did you say?
I didn't say anything. I just said you were indisposed.
Oh. Yeah, I was indisposed. Nervous. Oh, here you go, look. You can always count. You can always count your life, can't you? Hey, I just need to find this live feed so I can see the comments. I've got it. There you go. Hey, I like graphics, Phil.
Hey,
you've got new graphics on there. It's all blue and.
I did a live last night with Carolyn, who's actually watching.
Yeah.
And I was tinkering with some settings. I wanted it to look a little bit different from what we did. And I was tinkering with some settings, and I've managed to find some different graphics and stuff. So
yeah, it came out well. It looks good.
I've gone for the blue. I don't know why they chose the blue. I just decided I like the blue today.
No, it looks good. I need to get my cider. I went for today.
Well, I'm on the dregs of a crate.
Yeah, no, this is all right. It's not bad actually for what it costs. You know, it's all right. I've not drunk as much as this. Thanks, Paul. Oh, I've just had a big Sunday dinner. I think my wife's trying to feed me. Yeah, let's make some room.
Burgers, chips, and onion rings.
That's what?
Burgers, chips, and onion rings.
Yeah. Have you?
It's good. Yeah.
Great dinner-ish. Yeah. So what you been up to then, Phil?
Work during the week, busy week. And then yesterday I was naughty. I broke all the rules yesterday. All the rules. I went out for a 2.5 hour walk.
Why is that? That's not breaking the rules, is it? It's one exercise. There's more time.
Yeah, you're supposed to have an hour, aren't you?
I don't know. That's what everyone says, but I've not seen that anywhere.
Yeah, you're supposed to have an hour, but we did a 2.5 hour walk. We did about 5 miles. Went down the riverbank.
Yeah.
Put up with Jack, whinging most of the way because he had to physically separate himself from his PlayStation.
I've been around your route. I've seen
but he was all right in the end. He did it, and we were all feeling the effects when we got in last night. It was all a bit tired out. And then last night I did a live stream, funnily enough.
Yeah, because it was supposed to be a big day, wasn't it, yesterday?
It was. It was. Yesterday was supposed to be Carolyn and my challenge day. So last year we did a 50-kilometer challenge. For those of you that don't know me or Carolyn, I'm not an endurance athlete. I leave that to the other Phil. And Carolyn definitely isn't an endurance athlete. She has some quite serious, I know she's in here, I know she's watching what I'm saying about her, some quite serious health concerns, as in a sneeze could kill her. It's only a small problem. But last year we did it in Storm Hannah, so that was a year ago this week, just gone. And yesterday was supposed to be the day we were going to do it this year, but obviously we've had to cancel it. So we decided we were going to do a live stream last night and sit and chat about last year, chat about what our plans are when we reorganise it for September the 26th this year.
Right. Okay.
So fresh dates and everything ready to go.
I think you'll be all right by then, don't you?
Yeah, I think so.
So how did you feel? How did you feel? And how did, maybe I can put a comment in, but how did you feel about cancelling it? How did Carolyn feel about cancelling it?
We were both pretty gutted, to be fair. It's tricky because we spend all winter paddling in all conditions to try and get fit. So with Carolyn, it's a case of less kind of high impact stuff, more long, slow miles. You know, we'll go out and do 2-hour sessions twice a week, and we do just grind out the miles really. And it's a case of it takes us all winter to get to a point where we're about ready to go. And you know, we've done the early mornings paddling in the frost, we've done the early mornings breaking the ice on the water and all that kind of stuff, and it's not been pleasant over the winter. And to watch all that suddenly disappear in front of you because of something you can't control, it's upsetting. You know, it's hard because we both know that we're both losing fitness as this goes on. We're both losing fitness. Not that I was that fit anyway.
Yeah. No, but I know what you mean. Yeah, I get it completely.
You know, but we're all set. September 26th, we're going to hopefully get ourselves back on the horse over the summer. Brings a whole different type of complication for what could go wrong. There we go. Look, she's in the room. She's got a picture up from last year. Look.
Yeah, got it. But excited. Yeah, I bet. Because I remember. So again,
nice to at least have a plan to do it again. You know, we've not cancelled it with nothing. You know, we cancelled it and rearranged. So
yeah, because I can remember last year, because that was, you know, the day after. Well, actually, no, that day is the day I flew out to Majorca. So yeah, I just didn't realise. In fact, this anniversary Majorca trip sort of crept up on me a little bit. I didn't really realise that we were there, and your challenge was on Saturday a year ago. So yeah. What do you think about this lockdown? It feels to me like it's been eased without being officially eased. Do you know what I mean?
So I took for those, I don't know if you know, Katie's got a horse. You know, Katie's got a horse. So we went over to do the horse this afternoon. We have to go and muck him out and clean him up and all that kind of gubbins. And as we drove across town to go to the stables, there was a lot more people out. There was a queue outside Halfords. There was people walking through the streets. There was people in the park playing football. I think people are just bored of being inside and bored of being locked down, and they're making everything a bit different, you know. I don't know if it's a good thing.
I don't think it's just that though, is there? There's more stuff open.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm fiddling with the screen. I'm just getting there's more stuff open, and you know, I went into work on Friday and I ordered something from Halfords, and I stopped at Halfords, and there's a food place next door. There's Lidl, there's Wakes, there's Home Base, and there was queues at all of them.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know. I mean, I went for a bike ride today with Jack, and you know, everyone could go out and have their exercise, but there was loads of people, loads. It just, I don't know. It just feels a bit. It just feels a bit like it's easy already.
I think people are taking it into their own hands as well. I don't think people are, you know, waiting for anything official. I think it's just let's get out, you know.
Yeah.
It worries me. Not going to lie, it worries me because people are doing that.
Is my logo on the screen? There you go.
Huh?
Where is it? There it is. There it is.
Hey, have you seen that?
What? Yeah, no, what's that?
That's my balance board.
You made a balance board?
Nah. Shout out to Scott McGlashan at Daddy Boards. Oh, that way. For the yellow belly sup.
Yeah.
Beast.
What's on the other side? Has it got blocks either end? Yeah.
There he is. Look, there's
Daddy
his promo.
board.
Look, Scott. Daddy Boards.
And you got a roller for it?
I've got a roller, got a domed bag, and I've got a dome as well. Good boards, really good. Got a nice grip deck on it. It's a bit mucky from where I use it barefoot, but
I'm gonna have to get one on. I see a challenge coming.
it is about time it came out, Carolyn. Carolyn keeps telling me to get it out because she's got one too.
Yeah. Oh, it's excellent.
Bless you.
He heard you sneeze then. Yeah. She's in the next room as well. Can you hear that? Can you hear it cackling? She's just heard it because it's delayed. Anyway, shall we get our guest out?
Oh, hang on. There's another guest. Have you seen this?
Bedtime, Jack. Is it bedtime?
Look at him. Look, we did him at lunchtime.
Yeah, he's been shaved.
Microphone head.
Did you do him while he was stood playing his Xbox?
No. And do you know
Phil,
what?
you should have filmed it. You should just come up behind him and gone and filmed it.
No, it took some persuading to have him in to get his hair cut at all, and then all of a sudden he went, "I'll have a number 4 all over." Okay.
Shall I? So Alfie sits upstairs playing his Xbox. Shall I just take my clippers and buzz him?
I dare you.
I'll stick the GoPro on the clippers and go. Hello, Katie's there. Katie's there.
I'm just actually looking at the tufty bits on top.
Oh, look, family mailer.
Yeah, it's family live stream. Hey, Jack, did you watch Fence Painting live?
No, he didn't. He was too busy on his PlayStation.
Katie, did you watch Fence Painting live?
I didn't know, Phil.
I did.
I just did all the nice things your wife had to say about you, though.
What, on Face Painting Live?
No, on her own post.
Oh, yeah, that was really nice.
Her own post. Yeah, her own post.
Yeah. That is a phone that she don't use anymore, that she left logged into Facebook. She hasn't used it for 2 years.
Come on, convict. Bedtime.
Go on.
Bye, Jack.
See you later. Go on. Skedaddle.
What's Kelvin on about? Don't know what he's on about. Quite capable of having a number 4, thank you very much. Oh, Julia watched Fence Painting live. Says it was very dull. You said that. You do say that, Julia. You do say that, Julia. But there was 19 people at one point. Literally.
So come on, Plume. For those people that didn't see it, what was it?
Yeah.
What did you do?
I painted my fence, and I did 2 panels, and I thought this was boring. So to make it more interesting, I set up a live Facebook stream on my personal Facebook page, and 335 views. and somebody sent me a screenshot, and there was 19 people literally watching paint dry. Yeah, and I almost got I almost got the video banned from Facebook as well
because of your music.
Because I had the radio. Yeah, I had the radio in the background. It was picking up on it. I mean, I was using unlicensed music. So watch out for. Kelvin's put a good comment up. But the good news is, I've got some more live streams ready and waiting. So I've got shed roof repairing live in the bank, and I've got van washing live in the bank, and I'm sure some other things as well. So
shed roof repairs. Surely there's going to be a bit of suspense. Will Plume fall off the roof or fall off the ladder at some point?
Yeah, maybe. Ben loved it. Ben loved fence painting. I keep saying painting, but it's not. It's fence painting. I like my day lot. He must have had a really crap day that day. Anyway, let's talk about our guests.
That's how lockdown's getting people, mate.
Yeah. Hey, right. It's not me, is it? I wasn't the one watching it. I just put it up there.
This is true.
So our guest. Let's talk about our guest that we had lined up.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a different evening this evening, isn't it? So as you may have noticed, the early advertising claimed Mr. Tez Plavniks was going to be joining us. Sadly, he's dug himself a hole as he's run around his garden 26 times, and he's currently buried in it. Huh?
I can't think what he can have on that's more important than this.
Maybe some high-powered Tupperware international dealership conversation. I don't know.
Maybe it's got to be something like that, hasn't it?
No idea.
It must. Yeah. Well, anyway, hopefully we'll get him on eventually. Face painting live. Let the kids do it. What painting? What me painting their faces or them painting my face? Which one? My face, it reads like, doesn't it? Could do that. It's not bad. It wouldn't last very long though, would it? Fence painting live was 3.5 hours. It's better than spring wash.
3.5 hours. I can't believe you live streamed for 3.5 hours.
I was actually doing it for 4.5 hours, but
brilliant. Karen says them painting your face.
Yeah, it just won't take very long, would it? They could paint my head. They could paint eyeballs on the top of something.
So, instead of Tez tonight, I'd like to introduce our very special guest, Mr. I've panelled around Majorca.
Listen. I think there might be a couple of people that have not heard about this, so I thought today could be an ideal opportunity.
I think there might be a couple of people in the world that might have not heard about you paddling around Majorca, mate. So let's talk about it
for them. Yeah, this will be really good for them.
Oh, that one.
Well, it's a good fence. I mean, have you seen the after pictures of the fence?
Good job, mate. Yeah, I'm impressed.
I'm really pleased with it.
Probably more important than you're talking about Majorca.
Well, I've put together a little slideshow presentation.
Have you
I put a lot of
indeed?
effort into it. I
Excellent.
put a lot of effort into it. Yeah, but the only trouble is I forgot to do videos because I've got videos as well. But I could talk about the videos. I might be able to show some videos. I think it's really interesting.
Go on then, Mr. Plume. So,
Can I go on?
tell us all about Majorca. Come on.
Right, can I share my screen?
Yeah, go on.
Right, I'm sharing. I'm sharing my screen right now with you. See, everyone loves a good slideshow.
There we go.
There you go. I don't know if everyone, if you're watching that on a phone, yeah, it comes across all right on a phone, look. Only thing is, you'll be able to see me reading my notes because I didn't practice. So today is a year since I set off to paddleboard around Majorca, and it popped up. I knew it was this weekend, but I didn't know exactly what day it was, and it popped up on the Facebook memories. I thought, oh, that's quite good. I'll tell everyone about that again. So I put together this little slideshow because people have heard me talk about it, and people have maybe heard that podcast that I was on, but I'm not sure that everyone's seen the pictures. And you sort of need to see the pictures to get a feel for it. So yeah, this is my equivalent of showing you holiday stamps. So, hang on, different screen. I need to go to that screen. So, I've always been quite adventurous, as you know, and I started off. There's me in the 14-year-old bloke. I look at that picture. I just see my Jack.
Yeah,
good-looking lad.
really does.
Yeah. That's me about age 14, and that's a scout camp called Silverwood near Chapeltown, near Sheffield. And that actually was a training camp for Discovery 89, I think, international. I think you were still in nappies then, Phil.
I'd have been 9 years old.
Little international scout camp I went to. That was a really good camp actually, because we camped. That was it doesn't. I might be getting mixed up, but I went on a camp at that camp, which was in February, and it was so cold the combination froze on the inside of our tents. And this was in the days before, proper good camping gear. So you know those really thin little plasticky sleeping bags that zipped up one side and they had no shape to them at all. I had one of them because I've got a reputation for being a little bit stingy. Well, I'm nothing. I'm nothing compared to my dad, so that's what I went camping with. And I wore all the clothes that I took with me, and I was still cold in this sleeping bag. But anyway. And then, I've done windsurfing. Obviously, everyone knows about the paddleboarding. The picture on the bottom left there, I absolutely love that photo. That's the Survivor race down at Bournemouth. Were you there?
No, I wasn't there. No.
Such a good format. Yeah, first one back starts the clock run. The clock's running for 2 minutes. If you don't get back within that 2 minutes, you're eliminated. And then if you get back 59 seconds after the first person, 1 minute, 50 seconds after the first person, then you're literally straight on the beach, back on the board and off again. Such a good format, and that is an awesome. I love that photo. And then, yeah, so obviously surfing, paddling, windsurfing, and the lot. And I've looked at other people.
By me, though.
Say again?
There's a sneaky appearance by me on there.
Yeah, you're on that mega ball.
Yeah.
You, Slater, Fincham, Sophie, Jack and Alfie, wasn't it?
I was going to say there's a bunch of kids as well, yeah.
who's the kiter?
Lewis.
What's his name? Lewis.
Lewis Craven.
Yeah, that's him.
See, this is why we
really
hang out.
kiter.
This is why Plume and I hang out, because he can never remember people's names, and I nearly always can.
Yeah, I'm rubbish. I'm useless. I rely on 2 people to tell me names of people I've met. One of them's you, and one's Joe, my wife. Without you 2, I'm screwed. Absolutely screwed. Anyway, shall we continue?
Yeah, go on.
Crack on. So,
Crack on.
I've seen all these people going off on sup adventures and doing their own thing, and I've always really, really fancied it. And but because of family and having a full-time job, and only having a certain amount of holidays, I've never been able to do it. And I just thought that, as you know, Phil, the racing side of things, still enjoyed it, but losing a little bit of attraction. And I was just looking for something a bit, and the adventure side of things really started to kick off. So, and all I needed was somewhere with good weather in April, which is not an easy thing to find. I needed a distance that I could achieve in a week, because I only had a week to do this. And I wanted a real adventure, so I wanted wild camping. I wanted to do it solo and unsupported. So I put a search into Google, and up popped Majorca. I just typed cheapest flights to Europe, and up popped Majorca. So I measured it round, 350 kilometres around. Flights were just over £116, and that included 26 kilograms of hold luggage. And then the cherry on top, the airport is right on the beach, pretty much. You can walk to the beach from the airport. So I thought, right, I'm going for that. And in my head, it was really, really simple. And it went something like this: fly to the airport, walk to the beach, sleep on the beach, pan around the island, sleep on the beach, walk to the airport, fly home. How hard could it be? So that pretty much was the plan. That's what went into my planning. I measured it. I thought there's potential camping spots. I know how far I can paddle in a day. I thought I'll be able to reach those spots. But apart from that, that's as far as the planning went, really. So, so I packed it. This is the kit I took with me. So I took the Fanatic Ray Air. That's a 12.6. I took with me. That's not actually my board. I borrowed that board. I took a 3-piece carbon 80 paddle, food on the front, fire pot, pump, dry bags. The black block there at the top in the midst of the first aid is a memory foam pillow. And honestly, I think that was the best bit of kit that I took. It took up no space. It went down the back of the bag between the board and my back, so it made the board easier, more comfortable to carry. And every night, I was sleeping on concrete floors, and with a thermarest mat. So to have a pillow to put your head on was amazing. The yellow Lomo dry bag at the top there, that's been across Scotland 3 times. It's been around Majorca. It's been around the Isle of Wight. Cracking bag that. You can't fault it. Hydration packs, a bag of electronics, and 2 pairs of shorts, 2 tops, pair of flip-flops, pair of wetsuit shoes, trainers for travelling, and a long john wetsuit top and bottoms, sun cream, hydration tablets, poo trowel in the middle up next to the sleeping bag down the bottom, very important piece of kit, buoyancy aid, cooker, and that's it. That's everything. And that all packed down into those 2 bags in the right hand corner. And the map there was a little tourist map, Marco tourist map of Majorca. Bought online. That's what I took with me. So a week before the trip, I was mountain biking with the boys in Wales, checked the weather out, and it was looking pretty windy. So the Saturday on that chart there was the first day of the challenge, Sunday's second day, and it was looking pretty windy. So I got in touch with a guy on the island called Ruben, who runs El Nino Surf Centre in Cala Santani. No, not Cala Santani. He got it. I can't remember. Anyway, I messaged him, and that's what I sent him on the message. Not looking too good, is it? And that's the reply that I got. So straight off, before I even got there, it wasn't looking too good. And I literally sat here in this very chair the day before I was going to fly out with the finger over the button to delay the flight. So we had, I think I had 24 hours before and I could delay the flight. And I was literally sat with my finger over the button going, do I? And it was 60 quid to get a later flight for the next week. I was do I? And then literally 10 minutes before the deadline, clicked the button, changed the flight, and went the week after. So later, I woke up in a field next to the airport, which was where I decided to camp for the night. And this is El Nino Surf Centre, so I rocked up there. I left a little bit of kit there. I can't remember this guy's name. He works in the centre, but really tall, really tall. I mean, what am I, 5'11", something like that? He was really tall. But that's me, boards pumped up on the beach at that point, all my kit's packed in the bag. So I literally left from that photograph, carried the bag down to the beach, strapped the bag on the board, and off I went. I was a little bit late setting off. I wanted to set off early, but I didn't set off till 20 past 10. So I wanted to get going early in the mornings to avoid the wind. However, I turned out at Palmer Bay and I hit the wind. So the first day I was heading for a little town, Santani, which was 58 kilometres away. But this onshore wind ramped up. So it was blowing from my right to my left. And that resulted in me paddling 30 kilometres just on my left. I couldn't paddle on my right at all. Every time I put a pedal stroke in on my right, I just turned directly to the beach and headed in. So I had to just paddle on my left for 30 kilometres. 6 hours of paddling on the left. So started to get a few blisters on this hand. It was good, it was sunny, it was warm. It was just so frustrating because the angle just wasn't quite right to get any assistance from the waves. It was just a bit of a slog. So, as I said, I was short of my target, but I made it to Cala Santani. I stopped in the town, I picked up a few prints, and I paddled another 2 kilometres further on, and I found this little island. So that's me looking at the sunset. You've got the main island of Majorca to the. Oh, here we go. Look, she's on again.
That was ages ago. It was for that picture though, and I knew it'd pop up again, so I saved it.
So we got the main island of Majorca on the right, and we got my little island stood on here, and the wind was still blowing onshore at this point. So the other side of this little island. So where am I pointing? So that's that side there. It was really windswept and there was waves, but just in here on this little beach, really sheltered. I did a little live Facebook from there. Remember that? Remember that live Facebook feed? Yeah. That's from that beach there. So that was my first night on the trip. It was awesome that night. It was brilliant. But I just slept out on the beach and the dew came down and I just slept out so I had a sleeping bag in a bivvy bag and the dew was so heavy, it just looked like rain coming down. And I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting it to stay quite dry and everything absolutely soaked. There was a WSA had a live stream with Sian Sykes, who paddled around Wales, and she was talking about kit management on a beach is essential. And I completely got what she's talking about, because that sand just stuck to everything, and it was a nightmare. I had to stop and dry everything out the next day. So there's a little shot of the of the blisters. That's on the first day of a 7-day trip. They got bigger, angrier, and then towards the end they just went black and went like leather, really, like just scabbed over, and really nice, pleasant, horrible black blisters. They got towards the end of the trip. I'll tell you what they felt like, the texture of them, how hard they were. Towards the end of the trip, when I switched over my hands and grabbed the top, you could feel a tap as the hard blisters hit the top of the paddle. It's not, but honestly, the day 2 and day 3 were a bit of a nightmare with the blisters. And I woke up in the morning and I used to have to like tease my hands apart like that, because the blisters had healed and the skin had gone tight. So I had to, force my hands apart. Right, where am I? But the blisters, they were just part of the trip. I just had to deal with it. So we're skipping ahead a little bit. The next 4 days were absolutely awesome. I was so lucky with the weather. So lucky with the weather. I had wind on that first day. I had a little bit of breeze in the afternoon. I had a little bit of rain on the last day, and then the day that I finished, in the afternoon, it was blowing a gale. So I finished at 10:30 in the morning, and the afternoon was blowing a gale. But the next 4 days, the wind, it was like this. The whole way around, it was like this. Unbelievable. I chatted to Ruben afterwards, and he said, it's never like that. You've been really lucky. And just these deep blue seas, mill ponds. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
That looks epic.
Go on.
That shot just looks well epic. Like proper flat, nice, kind of perfect conditions almost, isn't it?
Yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, that just ahead of me there in the headland, if you look in from the head, there's like a white bit that comes down, and then further in than that, there's a bit that looks like a cave. Well, I paddled in there, and I was good because I tried to clear out my phone and put the pictures onto Google Images, and I lost all the pictures on my phone from one day, apart from a few. Obviously, this one was on the GoPro, so I didn't lose this one. But that little bay there, I spent ages there. It felt completely isolated, and it was just stunning, unbelievable. So we had mill pond seas, we had deserted beaches. So you just see my board down there on the in the middle of the stream. I'll come back to this beach in a minute, actually. And then these cliffs. So I was just paddling alongside cliffs that went up for hundreds of meters, always to the left. And at some points there was 10 kilometers between any sort of stopping place at all. So it was just cliffs like this for 10 kilometers, and then there'd be a little beach or a little cove. So nowhere to stop, nowhere to pull out. Nothing. You just had to keep going on the board, and you just got a little view of my world for a week there on the front of the board. So it was the bag, it was the flip flops, the case, the buoyancy aid actually on the board rather than on me, which is a bit more naughty, but that was my world for a week. That board and that bag, and that was it. That's all I needed. So this is a beach called Calamisquida, and Yeah, so this is Cala Mesquita. So I came round to this beach, past that headland in the distance there. So there's a headland that looks like it's split in two. So I paddled around the other side of that headland, and then as I came around the headland, I saw this beach. And I'd been told it was a good place to stop. There were shops there and get some more provisions. So I started paddling in, and I'd already picked up on the fact there was quite a bit of swell as I went around the headland. And that really surprised me because I wasn't expecting swell. So I came around the headland, and as I got nearer, I could see the waves. And if you look at the waves, like as you're coming into the beach on the left there in the distance, they're quite junky waves, like, you know, foot waves. There was guys on shortboards ripping up those waves, and I was really surprised. I didn't think surfing was a thing in the Med, but it's quite exposed, that beach. So I had to get a 12'6" inflatable board with 25 kilograms to kit on the front while through the surf, while not taking out any surfers, because I don't think that would have gone down very well. Kelvin's got a question. I'll come on to that to the end.
It's all right. I'm saving them all for the end. Don't worry.
Stay till the end, Kelvin. I'll come on to that one. Yeah, so that really was a case of just waiting out the back, watching the sets, counting the waves. I didn't want to surf in on the first wave of the set. I wanted to be on the last wave of the set, and I wanted to make sure I caught that wave. So that the next set didn't catch me up. And I did it. I surfed in right to the beach, jumped off the board onto the beach, dry board shorts, felt like an absolute surf god. Thought everyone would be rushing. That's amazing, but nobody did. Lifeguards came over and asked what I was doing. And everyone that I spoke to that asked what I was doing, I said, I'm going around the island. They went, all the way around the island? Yeah, all the way around the island. And that was like the standard response. Anyway, went and got some food. Unfortunately, the launch wasn't quite as good. Got hammered in the short break. Managed to get out the back. Thought I'd got turned around, and then this wave jacked up out of nowhere and knocked me off while I was waving to the lifeguards. So I felt like a bit of a tit really on that one, but there you go. So just around the corner from here, I found this deserted beach, and this is the one that I showed earlier with my board in the middle that I said I'd come back to. And this beach was just completely wild. I'm stood here on the terrace of a hostel, but it was out of season, so it was all closed. So I really thought I dropped on because I thought there'd be toilets here and I'd be able to charge my electric. So, but no, the toilets were full of crap because the walkers had continued using them, but there was no water, so they wouldn't flush. So it was like, you know, what's that bloody Trainspotting? You know, the scene in Trainspotting in the toilets. It was a bit like that. I opened the door of the toilet, so nah, not doing that. Yeah. But anyway, this when this place is open in the summer, you can book a room in this place. It's a hostel, and you can book a room in this place. And the closest town to this place is 30 kilometers by foot or by sea. There's no other way of getting there, and it's completely off grid. There's no electric. There's water. No electric, and it was all shut up. But can you imagine this in the summer to drop in and stay here? And it was amazing. And this beach is not an open beach. There's one part of it where you can land, and there's a footpath that goes down. I'll just get the cursor on. There's a footpath that goes down here and down behind these bushes and down there. The rest of it is wild bird nesting. And I found a great little campsite around the back, and that's where I spent the night. So the next day was the big crossing. So I had to cross this bay. So 20 kilometers there from headland to headland. If you follow the coast around, it's about 40 kilometers. So that's an extra 20 kilometers, which could have made the difference of me making the trip and not achieving it within the 7 days. So I had a chat with Ruben. With the weather, it was looking very, very calm, very light winds. Most of the winds over there are thermal anyway in the afternoon, so even if the wind did pick up, it would have blown me into the bay rather than out of it. So I thought, right, I'm going for it. So I set off from that beach and paddled up the coast a little bit, left the headland, and it was a bit scary leaving that headland actually, because that's 20 kilometers across, and this bit here, you see the cursor, that bit there is 15 kilometers from shore. This headland here is just cliffs. There's nowhere really up there, so it's quite isolated. And you see the ferry route comes in here as well. That's the ferry that goes between the islands, Balearic Islands. Also, I found this out afterwards, but it's illegal to paddle 6 kilometers offshore in Majorca. Right. 15. And when I got here to the middle, you know, I wasn't paddling very fast. I was on the inflatable. I got weight on, so I was only doing about 5k an hour. So that was 2 hours either way, and another 1.5 hours to the coast. So I was pretty isolated out there. I'd got no phone signal either in the middle, so I'd got nothing. So, but a lot of planning on the weather conditions. So off I went. Made it to Cap Formentera down here. And then I went around the corner, and you can see that I stopped at this little beach here. I can't remember what it was called, but I stopped there, had a chat with a few people for a couple of hours, and just chilled a little bit really after the crossing. And then I came back and went around the next headland, and that's what I saw in front of me. And the picture really doesn't do it justice, but it was just amazing. It's just headland after headland, with these clouds behind, no sea, no wind, hazy, and it looked like something out of Jurassic World. I don't know if you can see there, but just there, there's a little white line. That's a sail, and that's a sailing boat coming out of Cala San Vicente, which is the town I was for. It's just that's that little spot that I told you about where I stayed for ages and just chilled, and there's a little orange buoy there. You probably can't see it unless you're watching it on a big screen, but there was some guys there snorkeling around the coral around there. So I stopped at Cala San Vicente. I'll come on to that in a little bit, and then the next morning I set off from there to go down the cliffs down the north east side of the island, and they are absolutely spectacular. That day it went so slowly. There was just too much to see. You know, these cliffs are going, hundreds of kilometers up, and the hundreds of meters, not kilometers, and they're just covered in goats jumping around from ledge to ledge. It's just absolutely amazing. And about halfway down, I saw these two ribs, and there was a guy called David and Tristan, and I paddled over and met those two, and they were going canyoning up this canyon, and they said, do you want to come? So I went, yeah, of course I want to come. Tied the board up to their boat, jumped off. They've got wetsuits on, I've just got board shorts, t-shirt, they've got helmets on, and I must have spent an hour and a half with those guys, just scrambling up the gorge and jumping off cliffs into plunge pools, and absolutely amazing. And they told me about the next camping spot, and they told me a disused power station on the top of the cliffs, and they said head for the white crane on the beach. And I nearly missed it. I was expecting a big crane, but it was quite a small thing actually. And I paddled to this crane, took me bag off my board. I scrambled up this beach, and this beach is full of massive boulders. It's really badly eroded, and you get to the top, and there's a there's a camping field at the top, and it was absolutely amazing. And it's a disused hydroelectric power station. So the buildings you see in the middle there, they're the buildings for this power station. And it closed in the early 1900s. And where I'm taking this picture from, behind me are the reservoirs for the water that go down. And if you look there, you can just see the pipe that goes down from the reservoirs down into the turbine house, and that's where the electricity was made. And this is the day that I lost all the photos. So I've only got a few from the probe, but I lost most of them. But I found this little field on the top. So just out there, you've got the Mediterranean Sea, and you can just see the bay in here. I had my tarp, I had my bivy bag, found a couple of sticks and some rocks, and set up the little campsite. And amazing. So that night I went to sleep with the sound of thousands of frogs in these ponds croaking. No one else around, completely isolated. It was brilliant, absolutely fantastic. So I didn't want to leave there, and I moved on. And that brings me to the camping spots, the places where I slept. So that's the power station I've just talked about. This is the beach on the first island. You can see I basically went to sleep and left all my stuff like that, thinking it'll be fine. No one's going to get up in the morning. I'll go. And it didn't rain, but it might as well have rained. Everything got drenched, including me. The next day I had to stop. I had to dry out the sleeping bag and everything. But that island was a real treat because that was the first night on the trip. The next night I was determined I needed to find a bit of shelter out the dew. And I looked out and I found this cave, a little man-made cave. Checked it out. There was no crap in it. That was the main thing. And slept in there. Didn't need my bivy bag. Didn't need a shelter. And I shone my torch out of there at night, out that door, and you could see the dew coming down like rain again. But I was lovely and dry in there. That was a brilliant spot, that one. This is at the hostel. So the hostel was closed, but round the back there was a little campsite, and this was the camp kitchen for the campsite. And the door was open, it was unlocked, and the gas was connected up. And so instead of using my own gas, I just used those cookers there. And that's my sleeping bag down there, and I just slept on the floor in the kitchen. And that was a bit of a spooky night, actually, because I was really isolated there. And I was inside, I'd got the door shut. Everywhere else I stayed, I could see outside. So like in the cave, I heard some strange noises, and I shone the torch outside, and I could see some eyes, and it was the goats in the trees. But here I was locked in, and I could hear all sorts of noises outside, and my mind started, and I thought, what's out there? And gave myself talking to, and fell asleep eventually. Cala San Vicente, I really struggled to find somewhere. It's quite a built-up little town. So this is actually the terrace of a beach bar, and I stashed my board in a little beach cave, went for a burger, came back late at night, and I made this little shelter, and I slept there, proper homeless, slept there for the night. 3 o'clock in the morning, I had to get out of bed because there was goats playing on the top of these things, little baby goats, so I just chased them off. And then 5 o'clock in the morning, the other side of this wall here, there's a slipway, and there was fishermen bringing the boats down the slipway, and one of them decided to have a piss on the other side of this wall. I could hear it, I could smell it. I checked down the side of the wall just to make sure it weren't coming through, but yeah. So I need to crack on. I'm going on a bit. I never go on about this, do I? It's not like me to go on about this trip. This is the next place, Banyul Balfour, I think it's called, Banyul Balfour. And this is some little fishermen's cottages. And I pulled up on this beach, slept outside, just literally in this corner here. I put a tarp up between these two things in the building, and I just slept in that on the concrete on that little floor there with my foam pillow. Very important, memory foam pillow. But this is me sat eating my tea, watching the sunset go down. I disturbed a couple of lovers on this beach. I think they'd gone for a quiet sunset smooch, and then this was like day 6, so I was pretty stinky by this point. And I turn up on the beach with my board, pull everything out, make camp, and start cooking. And they started off down here on the beach, and then they went up round the corner there, and yeah, so that was a little bit awkward. Again, lovely camping spot. And then the last night, it forecast rain at 5 o'clock, and I pulled into this place. What was it called? Portavels, place called Portavels, and it's quite a touristy spot. There's a lot of caves, there's a lot of beaches, but it's quite close to Magaluf, and it's quite touristy. And I didn't really want to sleep on a beach, and I didn't really want to sleep in a cave close to Magaluf. And who knows what goes on in caves in Magaluf? So I paddled around into the little bay, and it forecast rain at 5 o'clock. And this was the only day it rained. And I saw this big yacht with an Irish flag on the back, and I thought that they seem quite friendly. So I thought I paddled over to them, had a little chat, and I thought, I've seen, you see all these adventure stories, don't you? And they get invited in for a shower and tea. I thought this could be my chance. But I just said, I told them what we're doing, and they said, "Oh, that's nice." And I said, "I need to find somewhere to sleep." And I went, "Oh, there's some beaches over there," and that was it. So I paddled into this little marina. And there was no one there. So that orange window at the end, that was like a guard's office, but there was no one in there all night. So I came into this little conservatory thing, never saw a soul, set up my cooker, had me posh pork and beans, favourite firepot food ever, looked at this machine, it had beer in it. That was €1 for a can of San Miguel. So I had about 3 of them. And then I tried to sleep in there actually, but every 15 minutes, the compressor from that machine kicked in and woke me up. So I looked for somewhere else to sleep, and I ended up in there. Honestly, that was the last night in there was the best, the most comfortable night, the best night I had on the whole trip. And just down the steps here, just out of shop, there's a swimming pool. And then there's houses at the top, and I think this is the pool for those houses, and that there is the beach, is the pool storage shed. And there was 3 Itwit, decathlon paddleboards in there, and there was the Sun Lounger and 2 Sun Lounger mattresses. So I shoved the boards on one side, I got in there, and honestly, on that bed with those 2 mattresses, slept like an absolute baby. I did really. There was no lock. There was a padlock, but it was broken, so I knew no one was going to come and lock me in. But yeah, that was like sleeping in prison. But I've done that before. so that was really good, and that was the last night. So then some of the people that I met that made it all possible, really. So this is Ian and Carlos, and they gave me a lift from the airport to the beach at 3 o'clock in the morning, and thought I was absolutely out of my head. And they said, where are you sleeping? And I pointed up this little footpath alley with no street lighting, just into some fields. I went, I'm just going to sleep up there in the field. They just didn't get it. They really didn't get it. So Ian in the middle works for EasyJet, and I met him in the airport on the way out, and he just phoned his partner up and went, "Can you just give a guy a lift to the beach because he's paddling around Majorca?" He wasn't happy, but he came around in the end. And then you got Kalameskida. So when I did surfing to the beach, Marco was the first guy that came over, and he just looked after all the kit for me for an hour while I went into town. Went into a cafe, got offered a shot there of vodka when I told him doing. So I had a little shot there, and then maybe that's why I fell off my board on the way out. I think that's it. I think that's the reason. So he watched my stuff for me. Then you got Sandra and Ruben from El Nino Surf Center in Majorca. So if you're ever out there, Ruben's a guy who led the cities a few times, Ruben and Sandra. They looked after my kit for me. I spoke to Ruben every day and the options of where to paddle to, advice on weather if I couldn't see the weather. Brilliant, really good. And then David and Tristan, who I met with the canyoning, who took me canyoning. Still in touch with Tristan over on Facebook. Unfortunately, learned this during the storms in the spring. Learned that David actually died in a canyoning accident. He ended up, got dragged under some rocks somewhere and died. So that's pretty sad, but still in touch with Tristan. And then a guy called Chopper, who I have no photo of, and I have no other name apart from Chopper. And on the last night, I decided to sleep in the airport, which was the worst endurance part of the whole trip. It was awful. And I was sat waiting for the bus, and Chopper drove past. And he stopped and he turned around and he said, "Oh, you look a bit cold. Where are you going?" So I said, "Well, I'm going to the airport." And he said, "Oh, I'll give you a lift." So I had a few seconds of, do I get in the car or am I going to be sold into the white slave? But I thought you'd like that, Bill.
Yeah.
But I decided to get in, and brilliant. Took me to the airport. Didn't ask for anything. Just fantastic. So this is what I did. So I paddled the whole way around Majorca. 63 hours of paddling total. Took me 7 days. 25,000 calories, and it's interesting actually. There you go. 331 kilometers. But that 25,000 calories, I could physically see the difference after 7 days. And I had a shower afterwards, and I could physically see the difference because I'd not looked at myself at all for 7 days, and that's quite a lot of weight. Just under 110,000 paddle strokes, and the fastest circumnavigation. The previous record was 13 days, and I did it in 7. And more than all of that, really, was just the experience of getting out there, having my own adventure. I didn't mind being on my own at all. I met people, I spoke to people, I wasn't lonely. But I still had the isolation that I wanted when I wanted it. I stopped for a coffee when I wanted to have a coffee, and it was just brilliant. So there's my details. Most of the people watching this probably already know that anyway, but there's my details, and that is my trip. And you might go on.
A good question from Caroline. A really good question. In 3 words, describe how it made you feel doing it.
Achievement, happy, tired. Is that all right, Carolyn? Achievement, happy, and tired. It was just a great sense of achievement to have finished it. It was quite emotional, not teary emotional, just like happy, really happy at the end. But also very tired. It was good. Cool. Any more? Was there any more questions that came up?
No, not really. No, not really. Calvin liked the idea
That's
of
good.
the Survivor race.
Who said that?
Calvin.
Has he never done one? He must have done one. He must have done one. Do you know what, Kelvin? It's an interesting story. One of the reasons I did Majorca is because I was thinking about doing the Yukon 1000 this year, and I looked at it last year, and I thought I'd love to do it. It'd be absolutely amazing. And then I worked out the cost involved in travel, getting aboard over there, just the entry fees alone, the safety equipment. It was gonna add up to quite a bit of money, and that's when I started to look at where can I get that sort of adventure from somewhere closer to home. And that's when I started looking, and I found the flights to Majorca, and yeah, I mean, 116 quid for flights. I added 60 quid on that because I had to change them because of the weather, and then I had kit. But yeah, a fraction of Yukon, and I just thought, you know, I can do several trips like that for the cost of one Yukon. Yeah, good question, Julia. I shifted around the board a lot. I knelt down a lot. I was only doing 5k an hour, and I got into a really bad habit of stopping and looking at my watch and my phone to see how far I was from the next stop. And I found myself doing that like every 10-15 minutes, like I thought it was going to get me there quicker. But yeah, just moving around the board a lot, having breaks, kneeling down. Legs weren't really an issue, to be honest. It was more my hands and the blisters.
And you used fire pot nutrition, wasn't it?
Yeah, I use Firepot. I've seen a lot of Instagram, Facebook marketing for Firepot, and it looked pretty good stuff. So I got in contact with them, and they sent me some meals, and they also sent me some porridge, which at the time they hadn't released, and they just said, we'll send you some porridge. I paid for it, but we'll send you some porridge and give you a bit of a discount and let us have your feedback. So I really liked it, actually. So I gave them the feedback. So I think it's great. It gave me plenty of energy. And it actually tastes like food. So they use real ingredients, cook it all together, and then dry it all down. It's not cooked separately and dried down. And they do one called Posh Pork and Beans. And I saved one of those for my last meal. I could eat it now. If someone gave me Posh Pork and Beans, it's amazing, really nice. If I did it again, I'd just take Posh Pork and Beans and maybe a couple of others to mix it up with it.
Cool.
You just put boiling water in.
She's got loads of good questions.
I was actually going to go the other way around, and because there's not really any tides to worry about, and I was going to go the other way around, and Ruben said most people go that way around, go anti-clockwise. So that's what I did. It didn't really make any difference to me which way I went. I wanted to go around. So yeah, I took local advice on that one.
I think that one as well. I think that's a good question.
In fact, I'll show you. I've been using it today. So that today has charged up a mobile phone from nothing to 98%. And the only reason it didn't charge it up to 100% is because the sun moved around and I forgot to move it. And it's just a twin solar panel, and it's from Decathlon. It didn't cost a lot of money. 20 quid, 25 quid from Decathlon. It's just got a charging USB port, and that's what the carabiners. I just strapped that to the top of my bag on the top of the board, and then I had a power bank in there. And to be honest, that it wasn't enough. So every time I stopped and had a coffee or like at Callum Skeed, I went for a sandwich, and I made sure that I took with me a plug with 3 USBs in it, so that if I found one plug point, I could charge 2 power banks and a phone at the same time. So I did quite a lot of that. I stopped off in places just to juice up on the power banks, and then that triple charged a bit of power in there and just kept me going. And then the torches that I took torches where I could change the batteries. So I just bought some more batteries when I needed more power.
Cool. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Plume.
It's all right.
I hope everybody's enjoyed it. I know Carolyn's enjoyed it. She's had to dip off, but she's enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And everybody else seems to have done too.
Excellent. I just need some ideas for what to do next.
Well, I think you've got a couple of ideas, haven't you?
I've got some time though, isn't it? That's the problem. It's always the problem.
Especially at the
anyway,
minute.
we've gone a bit over. We've gone a bit
Hey?
over. We've gone a bit over.
Yeah, we're about 10 minutes over. Yeah. Well, we were all so interested in listening to your talk.
Well, again. Hey, I'll tell you what though, not many people have seen the pictures, have they?
No. And that's the cool thing. Like, you can see like the little holes that you got yourself into sleep in and stuff. It's like,
yeah. And I took so much video as well, but I've just never got round to editing it into any film. But I've just so much video of people I met, places I slept, and it's mainly the paddle just going like that with the camera on the head. But there's a lot of other good stuff.
so next week we've got something a bit different, haven't we, Mr. Plume?
We have. I don't know how this is going to work out.
So, guys,
It's exciting.
It is exciting. It's a bit of something different. We've been having a bit of a chat between myself and Plumey this week, and we've decided the SUP stuff is good, but we want to do something else as well. So next week, I'm just waiting for another confirmation. He did confirm to me last week, but next week we have a live concert. Hopefully, if we can get the technology to line up, a live concert by a friend of mine who's just released his new EP, and he's doing an online world tour. So his idea is that he's going to get as many gigs as possible, and he's going to play them all online, and he's going to play around the world. So I've asked him if he'll come and join us, and we'll do a bit of an interview, a bit of a chat with him first. He's a talented bastard. I swear. This guy's got fingers in so many entertainment pies that he's talented. And his new project, I know Plumey's had a little bit of a listen this week. His new project's called Rusty Sierra, which for those of you that like 90s cars is probably a bit of a lead, but he's he's going to come on and play a gig. His name's Jim. His surname's May, so you're going to be ganged up on. You've had Family May tonight. You're going to have the other May tonight next week.
Not two Mays.
Not two Mays. So next week hopefully we'll get the technology right and we'll have a live concert in here. Yeah, my brother's in.
What date is it next week?
Sorry?
It's not May Day.
No, because the bank holiday's delayed, isn't it?
Oh, you didn't get it.
I did get it, but I'd also thought that, and then thought we should have probably put him on May Day.
Yeah, probably. Well, it is actually, isn't it? It's just bank holiday's been today.
It is technically May Day.
Well, near enough. It's our May Day.
Yeah.
Sniffs. Ben May, your bros put sniffs.
Yeah. So Jimmy is also known as 50 Sniffs. Boston's local scally rapper. Also known as Metropolitan Liberal Elite. Also known as Jimmy the Gent DJ. Yeah, got loads of other pieces of work in the pipeline. So he'll be in his Rusty Sierra form next week. I'm quite looking forward to it. I'm not going to lie, it's something different.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes, won't we?
So we'll see how it goes, but share it with your friends. Make sure everybody that you think should see it is in here, and hopefully next week we won't have any issues. Fingers crossed.
And you won't have me rambling on for an hour, so we'll get done a bit quicker. We'll get done on time. Hey, you should know, once you get me started on that, I can't stop.
Yeah, and it's fair. It's an exciting thing, man, you know?
Yeah.
Cool,
right, we better call it.
Yes.
We better.
Right. So we'll see you next week for a live concert.
See ya. Cheers, man.
See you later, guys.
See ya.